boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things underneath through a common sense lens. And you know, it's one of those situations where obviously Fantastic Four, Marvel's latest adventure into trying to reclaim some of the goodwill that they've lost completely and totally from their audiences, and Marvel burnout, yes, absolutely is real, boys and girls. Well, we know that's coming out in July, and obviously the rumor mill has been going wild for quite a while, and we've been covering this movie since the very early days when all we had was a lot of rumor and speculation going on out there, and one of those resources that we used over and over again was Comic Book News. And the best part is guess what? We were right. It's a Sue-centric story, and they gave us a female Silver Surfer. Wow, it's almost like Marvel hasn't changed at all, boys and girls, because nothing really has, and we're going to get the same nonsense all over again. So it'll be interesting to see how Fantastic Four ends up playing out at the box office. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of connection to the Avengers Doomsday stuff that's going on, and obviously we've seen a lot of set leaks. We've gone over a lot of this kind of stuff that's been going on out there, and well, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the leak. Potentially, remember, this is all rumor, this is all speculation, but if you are worried about potential spoilers, please smash that like and subscribe button before you leave. But this is your official spoiler warning that we're going to get to in here in details, but the end credit scene has leaked, and it is currently being described as those have seen it as very, very creepy, weird, and unsettling. And ladies and gentlemen, it also once again confirms some other very interesting rumors that we've heard about the Fantastic Four movie. So we'll see how it ends up doing in July. But as you can see from CosmicBook.News, leaked Fantastic Four post-credit scene is creepy as hell. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, some of the disturbing things that go on in this in-credit scene, specifically involving a child, is being deemed as a little bit unsettling. So we're going to check out this article from CosmicBook.News, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what this leak has said and what may potentially spoil the end of the movie and maybe come off as some of those things they might have potentially changed over the last month or so. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,900. We're inching our way closer and closer to 2K, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. What do you think about this if you made it all the way to the end of the video and know about the credits and the spoiler scene? Do you think this is going to work out well for you? Do you think this is the right kind of lead-in into Doomsday that you need to introduce a character properly? Or do you think this is really weird, a little awkward, and maybe not the way Marvel should introduce its first family? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from CosmicBook.News and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. What's claimed to be the Fantastic Four post-credit scene has leaked online from a supposed test screening, and it sounds creepy and weird as hell. We already know that Fantastic Four's Fantastic Four's ship enters the MCU via the Thunderbolts, new Avengers post-credit scene. And we also know that they show up in Avengers Doomsday thanks to the official cast reveal. So yeah, they survive. So for anybody hoping that for some reason, somehow, they thought for even an instant that Marvel would kill off the first family in their first outing, yeah, wasn't gonna happen. None of us are, any of us out there hoping to watch Pedro Pascal get it, yeah, unfortunately, not gonna happen, boys and girls. And as we reminded earlier, spoilers follow. According to a test screening, the Fantastic Four post-credit scene involves Sue Storm, Franklin Richards, and Dr. Doom. Weird color of shock there. Reed's not there. You know, the smartest man in the world, the leader of the Fantastic Four. No, he's not there because why bother? Why would he be there? It's a Sue-centric story after all. Once again, rumor confirmed. It's said that Fantastic Four post-credit scene shows Sue Storm reading something to her son, Franklin, because we know she's pregnant in the movie, right? That's one of the things they've already kind of teased in some of the trailers that we've seen and all of that other kind of nonsense and yada, yada, yada. So it's literally one of them situations like we knew this was coming. We knew Franklin was going to be in it. We've already got leaked from the toys and stuff like that as well. So yeah, needless to say, we knew this was coming. And of course, God forbid the smartest man in the world be reading to his son. No. It's his mother. It's his mother, boys and girls. Sue then leaves the room for a moment. However, when she comes back, she finds that none other than Dr. Doom is sitting next to Franklin, assumed to be a baby, right? Because I guess you don't see him in the crib itself, because who knows? They probably haven't cast the baby for it yet. Well, who knows? For all we know, like literally the end of the crescendo of the Fantastic Four movie may end up being literally Sue giving birth And then that'll be the end of the movie. And then you'll have a post-credit scene. You'll be like, woo, not some epic fight scene. Or maybe, who knows, maybe Sue will give birth and then go defeat Galactus. I have no idea at this point. And I certainly don't trust anybody that's been writing for Disney over the past 10 years. So yeah, there you go. The Fantastic Four post-credit scene description says that Doom is holding his mask while wearing a hood. It's also claimed to look very comic accurate. Also, we don't get a look at his face. So there you go. If nothing else, at least it's going to look very, very, very much comic book accurate. Which, at the end of the day, what more could you possibly ask for? It's going to be comic book accurate. So if nothing else, boys and girls, it'll look nice. I just wouldn't really account for the story to be much. And at the end of the day, story is the only thing that causes people to come back for repeat viewing. Unlike what all the Disney executives used to think of all of us nerds and geeks. They're just a bunch of stupid idiots. You put some explosions and some characters flying around with superpowers and they'll show up to any old slop you throw in front of them. Ha ha! Found out you were wrong, didn't you? So it seems that Doom is looking upon the baby Franklin maskless with his disfigured face. Doom's disfigured face has been confirmed via the Avengers Doomsday sizzle reel. So you won't see Robert Downey Jr.'s looking all pretty-faced and all of that kind of nonsense. And honestly, that's another good sign, truth be told. For all the razzing and criticizing for all this stuff, that is another good sign because a lot of the big complaints, especially over the MCU as far as being comic book accurate over, well, its entirety, the biggest complaint was always seeing these characters' faces, right? It's a rarity that you see that in the comic books, especially if they're in combat situations. Don't even get me started on Halo and how they literally did that in the first scene. That's a rant for a whole nother day. But needless to say, that's been a very common complaint from a lot of comic book fans out there about these movies. So at least, if nothing else, that's a good sign. You're not going to give us the pretty face of Robert Downey Jr., right, being Iron Man possessed. You're actually going to get the disfigured face of Doom, which still could end up being Robert Downey Jr. possessed from an alternate universe, but still, that's a whole different league for a whole different days. And if you want to look at the first Franklin Richards stuff, we can check this out real quick, too. This is just our first look. That is not even the Franklin Richards one. They're talking about that one being potentially Pascal right there. That's one who's they've got is out there because they've got a couple of more down here from an update on a leak of that earlier. That was for a completely different one. That was this one right here. But you can see the toys if you're kind of interested in that kind of thing, if you want to actually see it. But like literally this just more confirms exactly what all the rumors had been heard from the toys that Franklin Richards will indeed be in this. And hey, it looks like he's got a very similar batch of mommy's powers because he can put up a shield. Yay! Sue Storm's the bestest ever after all. So, yeah, it's one of them situations where we kind of knew this kind of situation was going to end up coming down to things, and it really shouldn't surprise anybody at this point, too. And so here's one of the other things that don't make this thing look good at all. Let's see here. Regarding the test screenings, it's claimed that the most viewers find it just okay, and only a few called it great, right? Which this all leads credence to the massive amount of reshoots that are currently going on right now, that we saw all of the leaked images from the set and all that kind of stuff that we talked about not very long at all. And it's one of them situations where literally this is the exact same story we saw with Captain America Brave New World, aka Captain Black America, and that did not end well for them either. Now, given it's not nearly the massive amount of reshoots that they did, because they literally reshot Captain America for the entire movie, but literally it's one of those situations where this is never a good sign. These test screenings have not been going very well for Marvel for a very long time. And even Grace Randolph adds that viewers were vocal after seeing it and actually shouted out at the end of the movie, something like mid, which she says is more than one exec took notice of. That's never a good sign. It's also said fans thought the Galactus stood out as the highlight, with every scene featuring him feeling truly epic. Well, at least we're going to get an accurate representation of Galactus. Also, we talked about all of the emergency reshoots. Going to be more of that kind of problem. So just in case you wanted to know, regarding what the post-credit scene means, it's kind of weird that Sue leaves the room and finds some strange dude creepily hanging around her baby. It's also might suggest that the rumors are true that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom is actually from the same universe as the Fantastic Four. So is this the scene taking place on board the ship that escapes as seen in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene? Or is it not? If Doom is from the same Earth and universe, it begs the question, where is Doom when the Galactus attacks? He only decides to surface in the escape ship? Why does he wait to creep out the shadows only after? And that's a problem with that too, because obviously everybody knows Doom is very... very much wants to rule the human race and actually kind of in his own sideways way see it succeed. So he certainly wouldn't just stand on the sidelines if Galactus was about to destroy the entire planet. So once again, more of that weird contriving storytelling from the MCU that makes absolutely no sense. And in this case, the MCU. The Fantastic Four post-screen scene leads directly to Avengers Doomsday, which has a new release date, as we all know. That's been pushed back. So it's one of those situations where, like, this just isn't going to end up panning out very well, and it's really not. And if you don't know much about Franklin Richards, like, from the comic books, he's essentially, like, he comes out just super powered over nines. Like, he's one of the most powerful people inside of the Marvel universe out there within the comic books. So it's crazy kind of nutso stuff, and it would actually kind of make sense that Doom would understand and realize that his birth was there and that it was a major issue and there's probably something you need to look into. But we already saw at the end of Thunderbolts, the post-credit scene for that one, where they literally watch the post-credit scene is the Fantastic Four coming into our universe. So once again, it begs the questions that Matt brought up. Why wouldn't Doom help stop Galactus if Galactus is actually what destroys their whole universe? Or is that scene from Thunderbolts misplaced and Thunderbolts is out of the timeline and Thunderbolts will end up being what? Post-Avengers Doomsday? I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense either way. But boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the MCU hasn't made sense for a very long time, and it doesn't sound like this end credit scene is going to help much to that at all. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I have to honestly admit the Fantastic Four is probably going to end up being a disastrous dumpster fire at the box office. And you know what? It couldn't happen to a bunch of nicer people out there. Disney Marvel has been an absolute abomination for a very long time. They tried chasing an audience that did not, has not, and will never exist in any kind of quantity to actually make them money. If they don't go back to actually sticking by their fans and giving us good quality content that actually sticks to the source material as what we've always asked for, it was actually made things successful, i.e. Deadpool and Wolverine, then maybe, just maybe, they will continue to fail. We know they will. But at the end of the day, the decisions are up to them. These people are the ones that hold the IPs, and we as fans are the ones that decide whether something succeeds and fails. And it doesn't sound like this post-credit scene is really going to help the storytelling much to where it's going to succeed and actually interest fans. So at the end of the day, Disney, Marvel, you've done this to yourself. You've danced with the devil. You've gotten burned before, and you'll probably be burned again. And this isn't going to save you. And at the end of the day, the fans decide, and you will get exactly what you deserve.